Wait, stream will start soon. Okay, just kidding, guys. That's not what I'm gonna use for like a damn, streaming something, whatever. It's not a countdown that I created. I mean, if there was going to be a countdown, I would, if there was going to be a countdown, I would probably make it either this or just some stupid song that I like, but I can't because copyright. And part of me wants to make money on live streams as well, so yeah. Alright, so I am going to go to a live stream studio, if I could find that. I'm already at the studio dashboard. It's weird, because I swore I know how to get there. Okay, and aha! There we are. And, to be honest, guys, this is, like, my favorite thumbnail so far. So, yeah, So, basically, I should probably describe the context of this thumbnail right here. So, first off, it's going to be talking about everything we're going to talk about. Caesar from Planet of the Apes is there because, the new Planet of the Apes trailer just dropped. We might talk about that, we might not, and I just want to add some diversity in the design. And Blade, Thing are there because of the updates. Kang is there because of Jonathan Majors. And Kathleen Kennedy is there because, the Pandaverse. And the Terminator is here because, that's my main internet persona as a Dominator. I mean, if you've been looking at my videos recently, I've been doing the Schwarzenegger voice, when I'm angry or when I'm trying to be loud, stuff like that. But yeah. So, first off, let's talk about, I think we should go, in order. Kang. I want to start with Kang, because this is kind of interesting, while at the same time kind of controversial. So, first off, the Jonathan Majors case, I think it's safe to assume that he's innocent at this point, because his accuser apparently fled the country. So, yeah, his accuser fled the country, his accuser got arrested, there's video evidence, quote-unquote. I mean, it's still a shit show, but I kind of hope he's innocent because I really did like him as Kang in Quantumania. He was, like, the best part of that movie, even though it was not that great. But Kang, on the other hand, they were talking about replacing him with Doctor Doom. Now, personally, I love Doctor Doom. Like, love Doctor Doom. But I don't think he's the greatest choice for, I mean, like, I would love to see him as a big bad. He sure as hell works, but the thing that, it's just that Kang is such a interesting concept, like, there's multiple versions of him throughout the multiverse, like, they're all working together, like, of course that's Thanos-level material, especially for the multiverse saga. I never read Secret Wars yet, and I know Doctor Doom plays a villain role in it, but yeah, I mean, and so yeah, but Kang, on the other hand, just why can't you just recast Kang? Just what is wrong with that studio and the whole idea of recasting? Like, an actor dies, you decide not to recast him, another actor dies, and you decide to recast him with a more well-known actor, maybe because he's white. I know that for a fact because there's way too much evidence to prove it. And, you recast two mainstayers like War Machine and Hulk, of course, in the early days of the MCU, and now you don't want to recast Kang. Like, was Jonathan Majors just way too good of a performance for you not to, for you not to continue using him if Kang left? I mean, I heard a rumor that they were going to cast John Boyega as a recast Kang, which personally I think that's great casting, especially after Jonathan Majors. They kind of do look alike. No, don't take it the wrong way. That's not a joke. I'm not talking about being racist, But, yeah. So yeah, me personally, I love Doctor Doom, but Kang, he needs to be the big bad because of his concept, stuff like that. Not to mention his name, we was Kangs. Hold on, I'm gonna put this in the chat. Anyway, so hopefully I don't end up like Dishonored Wolf because he got into similar controversy with that joke. But anyway, now let's move on to the Blade reboot. So first off, Blade is Now, apparently the movie was in production hell. It went through many rewrites. It was supposed to start shooting in October of last year, but they decided to pull the plug last minute because the script was very bad. Apparently there was only 2 action scenes in the entire script. You're making a Blade movie and there's only 2 action scenes. And apparently Wesley Snipes threatened to leave the project a bunch of times, which I honestly can't blame him because it's not his movie. Like, there was literally a draft of the script that was set in Variety that it was about 3 women, one of them most likely being Blade's daughter, and Blade was committed to the fourth front. All right, and look, I like comic book casts. All right, I like Armin as a dude. You know, he's a cool dude, but why hasn't he talked about this yet? You know, is he worried about saying something controversial? Because he's done it millions of times. You know, we disagree on pretty much everything politically, and like, does he agree with this and he's just worried of stepping out of line at least once? I don't know, but yeah, you know, and it's kind of true because we've seen a lot of recent Disney properties doing this to a lot of predominantly male-led franchises and stuff like that. And it's like, you're gonna replace Blade with Blade's daughter from a comic book that was canceled like a decade ago. Like, I want to see, I keep forgetting the alter ego of Blade. I keep forgetting his name for some reason. I don't know, he's just too cool to remember. But you're gonna focus more on Blade's daughter instead of just Blade. First of all, I hate the Mantles thing. You know, I don't hate it. Like, I like Robin, I like Green Lantern, you know, stuff like that. I like She-Hulk because she's very different than the Hulk, of course. But everything else, never been a fan of the Mantles. But yeah, you know, it's stupid because I don't want to see Blade's daughter. I don't want to see a female character. What is it? Oh, jeez Louise. Think. Like, mentoring the title character 24/7, like in a lot of recent Marvel properties. Like, I want to see the title character who just happens to be male. Alright? I don't care if we told women to go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich, in which just some things are the way they are. You know, to quote Rocket Raccoon, you never wanted things to be perfect, you just hated things the way that they are. That's a perfect way to describe woke Hollywood. It's like, again, I want to see female characters. You know, you could have female characters have the spotlight in a superhero team movie, and you could have female characters have their own standalone projects. Like She-Hulk. I mean, I would have loved She-Hulk if it wasn't woke. Like, if it was just a comedy show and it focused on being like a superhero show, a woke show second, if not never, then I probably would have loved it better because I like She-Hulk in the comics, even though I've only read a handful, you know, stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. The comics I usually read are X-Men, Fantastic Four, and usually the obscure characters. I don't know. I'm that kind of guy. But yeah, I've also been reading quite a bit of Heroes for Hire. Anyway, back on topic. And apparently the movie was going to be PG-13. Now, I've seen a lot of people say that Blade doesn't need to be PG-13. I could see where their point is coming from, but at the same time, like 20 years ago, we had an entire R-rated trilogy that was blood and gore. Do you want to see a reboot like that? Of course you do. Of course I want to see a Blade reboot that's just like those movies. I mean, you can make them different. You can make the story different. You can make the themes different. You know, you don't have to rehash the movies like the Amazing Spider-Man movies did. And my cat is trying to get on my lap. I want to let her, but she's going to meow 24/7. But I don't know. You can barely hear it through the mic. And it's like so... And yet you chose not to make it R-rated all because you want a kid audience. Just take notes for what Fox did before Disney acquired them. Like, do a PG-13 cut of the movie. Because, again, I said this on my community tab. I do believe there's an R-rated cut of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie out there. You could tell because it was heavily censored. So, yeah, you know. Well, I do believe there's an R-rated cut of that movie out there. But, yeah. Hashtag release the Cawthon cut. I don't know. I don't remember the director's name, so that's why I say the Cawthon cut. But, yeah. But it's like, I hope they remove Blade's daughter, alright? You know, because it's just stupid, especially from a comic that was canceled, and especially because, again, I want to see Blade. If you want female representation so much, Marvel, make a Firestar movie. She was like a character in a bunch of cartoons from the 80s, for crying out loud. So yeah, like, Spider-Man, his amazing friends, like Iceman, my favorite X-Man, co-starred in that show. But yeah. So anyway, now off of Blade a little, Okay, first off, I want to share this idea for fun. Can you make a Baron Blood the villain of Blade? He's like a vampire character. He's like a Batman stylish vampire character, as in he dresses up like a bat and he's a vampire. All right, I would love to see that in a Blade movie, which makes sense because he's a vampire, you know. So yeah, but anyway, now on to Fantastic Four. Now, first off, there was a recent rumor that they were gonna, like, not only were they gonna have a female Herald of Galactus, which I would have been fine with if you just include Johnny Storm's girlfriend, who was a Herald of Galactus in the comics. But guess what? What? They were apparently planning on gender swapping Silver Surfer. Panderverse confirmed. MCU confirmed. Alright. What is going on with that studio? You want equality so much, just focus on already existing characters, for God's sake. Don't gender swap already existing characters. It's stupid. I'm not going to pretend like I love the Silver Surfer. I mean, I like him as a Fantastic Four fan, but come on. A female Silver Surfer, that is one of the stupidest ideas I ever heard. Alright? But we do have hope, but I'll mention it in a bit. So yeah, I already talked about this, you know. Oh, and apparently they're back in talks with Jake Gyllenhaal as Reed Richards, which, you know, as much as I loved him as Mysterio, and as much as I want to see Mysterio come back in a future Spider-Man movie, which it looks like we're getting Vulture back in the fourth film, I think that's not bad casting, like Jake Gyllenhaal as Reed Richards, alright? And if they are going to cast an all-white Fantastic Four, I mean, the Thing is the one that I'll be fine if you race spend, because he's a rock monster. You know, you could just have him as a human a handful of times. But, if they cast an all-white Fantastic Four, I'm going to be so happy, because they're listening to us, you know? Like, if they're listening to us, like, they know that we know that we're winning. You know, stuff like that. And I'm expecting all the people to call me racist or sexist in the comment section. If that makes you feel better, I said earlier that I'm reading Heroes for Hire, and I like Firestar, and Elektra, and the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3, because I've been playing that recently, and Eleanor Lamb from Bioshock 2, and Metroid. I could name so many things, but I really don't feel like it. Honestly, if anyone were to call me sexist or racist in the comments, I'm just going to ignore it because I don't care. You know, it's an unnecessary waste of time and energy, if you were to ask me. But, yeah. But, so yeah, you know, one of my flaws in Fantastic Four in the original comics was that Sue was barely an ass kicker. I mean, like, there were ass-kicking female characters back then, like Jean Grey, Medusa, stuff like that. Crystal also, of course, but, Sue barely did shit. She was mostly there to be the damsel. And, like, again, I hate to sound like a Neo-Sarkeesian, but I think with this movie, you can make her just like the Tim Story movies, you know? Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the Tim Story movies, but you can make her an ass-kicker, too. Make her share equal screen time with Reed, The Thing, and Johnny. In fact, the more I think about it, it's kind of hard to make a Fantastic Four movie focus on one certain character, because, like, they're called the Fantastic Four. They're not the X-Men. Like, you know, I think these are characters that, you know, if you combine all of them as the main character, they are the main character. Like, if the Fantastic Four were one character, like, all four of them are the main character. You know, stuff like that. So, yeah. But yeah, and again, I really hope that with the recent delays going on, we'll get that in a bit. I just really hope that they make drastic changes to the script. And like a lot of people are saying fire Matt Shakman, which, I mean, here's a controversial take, folks. Writers, I care about if they're fans or not. Directors and actors, I don't care if they are fans of the source material or not, because directors, they are behind the camera and they tell people what to do. Alright, actors, they play the characters for a living. Alright, you know, stuff like that. But writers and people in charge behind the scenes, I do care if they're fans. Alright, because, you know, this is a legacy going on. Alright? But anyway, final thing is the delays. Now, first of all, we all know that the actors' strike has ended, and we got a Deadpool 3 being the only Marvel film coming out next year. Personally, I'm fine with that because I think Deadpool 3 is going to be next year's, like, Spider-Man No Way Home, of course, because they're bringing back all the Fox Marvel characters, you know. Chris Evans is coming back as Johnny Storm. Ben Affleck is coming back as Daredevil, which, again, I hate that movie, but I'm down to see Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner again, you know, stuff like that. Especially once you give to the fact that they used to be married, you know, stuff like that. Imagine all the fourth wall jokes Deadpool can make with that, but yeah. I think Deadpool 3, if it's advertised well, I mean, it's going to be a hit regardless. If it doesn't hit the billion, it's going to be a hit. It's going to be close because, again, and they're going to settle on the nostalgia factor. I know everyone hates the multiverse. I know even South Park hates the multiverse, but the thing is, like, that's what's going to make this movie succeed in the long run, you know? Oh, look, here's the trailer. There's, wasted Cyclops. There's, oh, look, there's Evan Peters Quicksilver. He's back again. There's a Viper from the Wolverine. She's not really an X-Men villain, but hey, you know. So yeah, and so Captain America Brave New World, I felt like New World Order was a better name because it kind of helps to like the political persona of Captain America. Apparently they changed the name due to real world conflicts, which nah, I don't think the New World Order, similar to stuff like the Illuminati, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not too educated on the subject, but I think similar to stuff like the Illuminati or, you know, just, I don't even know what other comparisons to make, but I think you could get away with it without stirring up controversy, you know, but you know, I think Brave New World is a stupid fucking name. I'm starting to get used to it now, but yeah, Brave New World and the Thunderbolts has been delayed till 2025, if you've been catching up with the news. Brave New World, on the other hand, now personally, again, I told you I hate the Mantles, wasn't the biggest fan of Falcon the Winter Soldier. You know, oh, especially all the dumb political shit in the show. You gotta do better, and you know, but I'm still down to see a Captain America 4 because, like, you know, I love Anthony Mackie as an actor. I still need to watch the Twisted Metal series. I never played a game in that franchise, but I still need to watch it because I hear it's really good. And plus, Will Arnett is voicing Sweet Tooth. I don't know if he's physically acting or just voice acting, but hey, but with other things I want to mention, if Captain America New World Order is not a clusterfuck of a movie to the point where it's not a Captain America film anymore, again, I love Captain America Civil War, but it's not a Captain America movie. If anything, it should have been called Avengers Civil War. Makes sense. Alright, you know. Oh, like, if they remove the adamantium plot, the giant head from Eternals, gee, what else? I mean, of course, I say they should keep the Red Hulk. I heard rumors that Moon Knight was going to be in the movie, which, that was a long time ago, and no one has ever said it since. Sentry, you know, recently rumors came up that Sentry is going to be in the movie. Alright, if they focus on Captain America, you know, they make it a Captain America movie, and they add in Red Hulk similar to how they added in Black Widow and Winter Soldier, then I think that movie would survive. Okay? And another thing is Thunderbolts. Personally, I don't care if you scrap Thunderbolts or not, which, fun fact, the art in the background where I inserted all the characters you're seeing right now, that was, that is Thunderbolts concept art. And I forgot to mention, I left Bucky Barnes there because of the Captain America thing, but yeah. And apparently test screenings were bad for the movie, and apparently I heard it wasn't horrible, but it was still bad to the point where they, had to redo it, and then I'm like, nah, that's a horrible cop-out. I'm not saying it's because of wokeness. I'm saying that must mean it had to be really bad for it to be reshot and delayed. Hey, you know, stuff like that, but yeah. But, The Thunderbolts, on the other hand, personally, I don't really care if you cancel the Thunderbolts or not, because it's like, I mean, like, I know that there's so many things, like, again, probably because I haven't read too many Thunderbolts comics, but, I did collect it a few, just never read them, but probably because, oh, I think with, like, Suicide Squad, now look, I know that Marvel has their own versions of characters, but characters like Moon Knight, and Batman, or Aquaman and Namor, those are different enough characters that I think you can make a standalone film or TV series, and I think they survive on their own. But Thunderbolts, it's kind of hard to do a movie without kind of ripping off Suicide Squad a little, stuff like that. And not to mention, the roster is very lackluster. I heard they removed Ghost from the movie, but that was reported like last year. But yeah. And so, since that they're delaying those two movies to about a year, some of you might say it's because of the actor's strike, which that opinion is valid, but given that they're delaying Blade and they're delaying Fantastic Four to 2026, I assume, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, who cares? I think it is because they're fixing some stuff, because I feel like in any other alternate reality, they would have kept a movie, because I think you can finish a movie. I mean, like, example, Five Nights at Freddy's, because, like, they shot that movie all around early 2023, and then they released it, like, just recently. But, yeah, I think stuff like that you could survive. Like, I think you could shoot Thunderbolts by the beginning of next year, to the point where, it could still make its December release date, or even a November release date, because Marvel, tends to do that. But, boy, I've been talking way too much. But, yeah. But the fact that they are delaying those movies for, like, years, especially after the actor's strike, because I feel like you could just start back production, like, sooner or later, but that's just me. I think it is because of wokeness, alright? I think it's because I'm not jumping to conclusions, I'm not saying this 100%, but I think it's because, like, they notice people don't like woke, so they're gonna remove it. I think that's part of the case, I hope that's the case. But again, we just have to wait and see, because there's got to be heavy rewrites going on and more quality control, because again, there's no way they delayed two movies. I mean, like, if they delay Thunderbolts and keep New World Order in 2024, I could see why they would do that, but there's no way they would delay both of them and have Deadpool 3 be the only one. All right. But, yeah, I think part of it is because of wokeness. I think part of it is because of the actor's strike. I mean, like, again, I think you could just go back to filming shortly after. But, yeah. So, since that no one was in the chat after this long-ass podcast, that's the end of the stream, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.